welcome to our next episode, our fourth episode of The Creative Woman Within. And I'm really excited today because I've got a lovely lady with me who's going to tell us all about her creative journey and where it started. And she's called Jae Marie Minster. And so I'd like to welcome you, Jae, to my podcast. So hi.
Hi. Hi, Tracy.
So we met, well, we've never actually met in person, actually, thinking
about it. No, we haven't. We have spoken like this quite a few times, or even email and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we actually met. We were both doing some training with a coach. A few years ago now, isn't it?
It doesn't seem that long ago, but it is a few years ago. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. And we were in like the same group, and that's actually how we came across each other. That's how we got to know each other.
Yeah.
And I sort of like noticed over the last, I don't know how long it'd be, certainly the last few months.
Since October?
Yeah, about 6 months or so. Yeah. And I kept seeing Jae pop up with like all these paintings she started doing. And I was thinking, wow, I'm loving these, because that's not originally what you were doing. I think you were working in
photography. I was a photographer like for over 25 years.
Yeah.
Maybe 30 years now, actually. And more digital photo composites. That's what my thing was. But then I started changing. When AI came on the scene, I got this sudden, oh my God, we're doomed. Like, but and then I started my children. They kept saying to me, "Mum, you need to teach. You need to teach." And I was like, "Oh, I don't." She said, "No, you need to do your teacher's degree. You need to go in." So I listened, and then I signed up for my teacher's degree.
Yeah,
and I got accepted, but this is quite long-winded, but I'll try and shorten it. I got accepted because I did have a photography degree, and I've shot weddings all my life, and obviously I did personal stuff. And they said, yeah, with a condition. So I was like, okay, what's the condition? Like, my background is even darkroom. I started in darkroom way before digital.
Yeah,
I was in
films.
Telling you how much of a fossil I am now. And then, so the condition was that I needed to give them my GCSEs, which I found really, really strange, because it was 38 years ago. I'd had a photography business. I was like, well, my school doesn't even exist anymore. Like, all the exam board, I doubt. So I had to pay for the to find my exams, and outside, like private detective. Well, I don't know what you call them, private detective. Just private detective, not just to find me exams. I'm a bit like, oh, look, this is my imagination all over the place. So they found 4, and then gave me, which was, I think it was £68. And if I needed any more, like, here's a couple of links that you could try. And I'm like, I'm not going to keep paying £68. I'm not going to do it. So the 4 I had was English Lang, English Lit, and 2 others, but not math. So I emailed the university and I said, look, all I've got is these 4, and I'm not really willing to keep paying.
Yeah.
More. It's 38 years ago. It's a bit stupid.
The
school system, I mean, that's a different topic.
That's a whole different topic.
That is a whole different. We could talk about that for hours.
With what you've done all that time ago, it becomes kind of irrelevant, doesn't it? Because you've got so much life experience. So
and even like bookkeeping and like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not my strongest point. Don't get me wrong. I really don't give a damn about numbers, to be fair.
Yeah.
So anyway, they went, oh no, that's fine. That's fine. I was like, oh, okay, that's brilliant. So I did start the teacher's degree. So I thought, okay, new path, this is me. And I do love, and then I was working in a college teaching college students. Absolutely loved it. And then I think it was 5 or 6 weeks in, none of the student finance was getting released. Obviously, I couldn't work and do 5 days a week teaching. It was 4 days a week teaching and 1 day a week academic.
Yeah.
So I applied for student finance to help. And it didn't get released. I was like, why has it not got released? And they said, oh, it's because you're not giving us your maths. It was unbelievable. It was insane. And it just went on, and they said, you have to do a maths exam. And I was like, what? In less than 2 weeks. And I was like, what?
No.
So I ended up sitting this maths exam. And the universe, I mean, I'm quite woo-woo me. I'm sorry if no one else is. But
no, I'm completely with you there.
Very, very woo-woo. And I'm like, and I didn't panic. Everyone around me was panicking, like, oh, what are you going to do? And I'm like, it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm here. I'm still alive. I don't know what your big problem. Well, what about your rent? What about this? What about that? Everything's fine. So I had to step away from all that fear mongering, because that obviously they're programmed for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I still am kind of. And then when I have to hear it, I go, ooh, no.
Pull yourself back, don't you?
Yeah, you have to pull yourself back when you're hearing these. So, yes, I told you it was long-winded. Sorry, Tracy. So then I was like, what am I going to do? Okay. So I started asking, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And it kept, it sounds really crazy, but it actually paint. I'm like, can't paint. Can't paint. And my daughter had like tons of student acrylic paint and watercolors from her, because she's quite creative. She does interior design. And I'll show you actually, one sec. So I just started paint. This is on photocopy paper. I've actually framed it because it just makes me remember my first one.
I love that. It's beautiful.
And I was like, and I loved it. And I just felt lost for a while. Yeah. So, that's how it started. I just started doing it.
Because you were telling me that you'd actually gone,
somewhere else. Then, on a Monday, this is another universe going, come on, you do I need to shout it a little bit louder? I'm like, yeah, you do. So where I live, I've lived here all my life, not in this house, but in this area. And there's a place called the Cornerstone, which is quite for the community. And shamefully, I'd never been. But since I moved in this house, which was like 9 years, nearly 10 years ago, I kept saying, I'm going to do the yoga on the Monday night. So this has gone on for like a decade. I'm going to do the yoga on the Monday night. And this certain night, it was a Monday night. And it was so weird, so weird. And it got to 5:20, and I'd just eaten. And something came in my head, go to yoga. I was like, oh, I'm tired. Go to yoga. I was like, okay. I went to yoga for the first time in the 10 years I've been here. I've been saying it. And I said to the guy, I'm here for yoga. Oh, there's no yoga tonight. I was like, what? He went, I don't think there is. I'm not usually on the desk. It was an old day, you know. And he went, just look at that there. And he pointed to this big blue leaflet on the side. Women who want to be in art and business. And I went, whoa. And I've picked it up. He went, no, not that, love. I went, no, it's this one. It's definitely this one. And it closed on about midnight that night for applications and started 3 days later.
Wow.
No, not 3 days. It started on the Wednesday. So this was the Monday and it started on the Wednesday, which was like a 12-week.
I just love synchronicities. And don't you think how it's funny sometimes we get those little gentle nudges that sort of like say to us, saying that you could do this. And then we go, no, can't. And you just push it back. And then something else comes along. And then, it kind of gets put in your path. Because I was the same. I wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah.
I was just telling you actually when we was chatting before.
Yeah.
my husband built me a studio in the garden, but it wasn't an art studio when he built
Yes,
it.
Reiki.
It was a Reiki room. I was doing Reiki because I'd finished work hours poorly. Everybody kept saying, what are you going to do? And I'd done my Reiki training a couple of years before, never done anything with it. And I just had in my head, I'm going to do Reiki in the garden.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. And then that kind of like, obviously COVID put an end to that, but it was like that got me well enough to then be able to do something else. And my mother-in-law gave me a blank canvas. And that's how my journey started. And then it was all those little synchronicities, all these opportunities that come on your path. And it kind of like showed you like the way the universe wanted you to go.
Yeah. It's like it sits back going, oh, finally.
She's got it. But don't you think, because I mean, I teach a lot of workshops.
Yes.
And I've got so many people that come to the workshops that have not picked a brush or a pencil up for like 10, 20, in some cases up to 60 years. They've never picked.
I am hearing that a lot
lately. Anything. And they've come and they've fallen in love with it. And so many people have said to me, I wish I discovered this sooner. I wish I discovered this sooner.
And it breaks my heart.
I know. But it's like, it's the same with you, because if those synchronicities hadn't have happened, your talent might never have started coming out, and the pleasure and what you're getting from it, you never have discovered.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, and what I have noticed, I mean, obviously because we've got to like document, because I am supposed to be documenting my journey at the same time.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't just want to say, oh, here's what I'm doing today, because my brain doesn't work. How can I do it? How can I do it? I thought, because of the healing journey that I went on with like many years ago, like I don't know if you remember like the domestic violence and because of that healing journey I went on, I thought, how can I, because I didn't really want to be a coach, and I didn't want to do the coach anymore because it kept dragging me back into that realm. So what I've started doing, I thought, right, I need to video, but with a story behind it, you know. So I'm kind of learning that aspect at the same time. But what I have noticed, this is where I'm coming back from the tangent that I've just gone on, is when I'm not videoing, when I'm not like, right, I need to do this shot, I need to do that shot. So because I want to do it while I'm doing the painting and whatnot. When I'm not doing that, I mean, not last week, the week before, I was like, I am not videoing today. I am just going to paint. I am not going to, because you get out of that flow state.
Yeah.
There's a flow state that when you're on it, no drug, no drink, no thing you could ever put you on that flow state, ever.
That's given me goosebumps.
It just couldn't. Yeah. I mean, back in the day, I mean, you might want to edit this out, like where I grew up, you know, it's not, it's a rough area of Manchester. Yeah. So I did party a lot. Yeah. I did. I'll hold my hands up. I was part of the hacienda, like, bunch.
Yeah.
And honestly, so I know that side. So I know that no drug, no drink, no nothing could get me to the place where I am when I get on a flow.
Yeah.
So that day, like not last week, the weekend before, not the week before, and I've done this. And what I tend to do, what I found as well, is I can't just do in one painting at a time. I find it very restrictive.
Yeah.
And I find it very restrictive if it's small.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've done three big sheets, and I just went to like no filming, no nothing, no. Oh my God, I don't know where I went. I have no idea where I went.
It's such an amazing feeling, and it's a feeling. I discovered that.
Yeah.
And it was like from like being so crazy busy as a teacher and like timetable to within an inch of your life. You'll know that from like photography. You plan on a timetable to like working to school holidays and things like that, and everything's regimented. So having that freedom just to, it's the most feeling ever. And I just wanted to bottle it. And actually, I really resonate with what you said about the filming, because I sort of film quite a lot of tutorials.
Yeah.
which I'm going to be releasing.
Yeah.
But I find that really restrictive, because
Yeah.
like you're talking away, or you're working in a certain way.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just working freely, you can lose yourself. You're just lost in that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
And especially if big paintings, oh, amazing. You know,
Honestly.
to be able to just lose yourself on a scale, right, where
Yeah.
there's no expected outcomes, you just
Uh-huh. Exactly.
what
I
you
did it
feel.
yesterday. I'm in a group at the moment that I pay for monthly. It's only just opened, and we have to do things called she calls them wildings. Can't say it. And the A3s, and they're just basically, even though I've known colour theory for forever,
Yeah,
it's different with paint.
yeah,
From my knowledge of colour theory, obviously I was building like digital worlds and stuff, there was no mixing unless
no,
I was doing like blending. But anyway, that's a different. So yesterday I did the same. I had to do like loads of different colours, and these are like kind of for me these are
oh, wow,
tiny, right? So, but I had to choose different colours underneath. This is just the first part of it, but there's quite a few here. And honestly, I just lost myself again. I just lost myself. And
lovely.
I have noticed from doing all these kind of abstract kind of works, how much I love abstract.
And abstract, I find abstract really tricky, because my brain wants to make sense of it.
Yeah, well, that was me, because you've obviously I draw portraits,
Yeah, yeah,
but he's kind of like an abstract within my portraits.
there is. Yeah,
So I'm like, it's kind of like I'm kind of like fighting, like, and I was like, okay, this I'm just gonna have to start going with this. And then the other day I tried an abstract with, I don't know if you've seen it. She'll get it.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
go
give
on.
it. So it's not finished though. This is why. So I started doing
Yes,
like,
you did, yes.
can you see the
Because you've got collage
outline?
under there as well, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like using the. So I've not finished that yet, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just finding who I am,
You're
basically.
finding you, and that's what I love,
Yeah,
because when I first started seeing your artworks popping up, and
yeah,
like you're talking about them and your reels and things, and I really got that sense, because I know from when we first met each other, because you really weren't sure what route you wanted to go down. I think we were
yeah,
both at that point at that time, everybody in the
yes,
group, really. It's like you feel a bit lost and you're finding your way, and just find
yeah,
out who you want. And I think you get to like a certain age in life where you just think, I need to find out who I am. I need to really, because like you're somebody's mum, you're somebody's partner, or whatever, or
yeah,
you're described as something else. But it's
mm,
taken me a long time to find
yeah,
out who I actually am.
mm,
And I really felt that with looking at your paintings and the way you were describing them. And that's what made me smile. And I think I messaged you and I said, I love what you're doing,
yeah,
because I could feel it. I could feel like you were really on this journey of self-discovery. And it
yeah,
so comes through in your paintings. But
mm,
also, because I mean, I know we sort of talked about it, and you're happy to talk about it, but like with the ADHD as well,
yeah,
because like you said about having one piece on a go is too restrictive. And
mm,
that's what I love, because with the art, you could have like a whole
yeah,
4 walls full of canvases that you could go to one to the other to the other.
yeah,
There's nobody telling you can't, but
yeah.
it's freeing, and you can just get out what you need to get out
Yeah,
on
and
whatever
also
canvas you
that, and
need
I
to.
think I've got that in my mind when I, because I don't know if we was recording when we was talking about me changing the studio.
No, we weren't. No,
Oh, was we not recording?
no.
So that space is going to allow me to do that, like
Yeah,
on bigger, larger scales, and I'm getting really
I
excited about
feel
it.
it.
I'm like, oh my god, I can have 2 large canvases, 3 large canvases on that wall.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that I'm getting excited for. Whereas, you know, everyone, me, my sister and my mummy were very, very organized people, very, very neat, very, I've never been like that. Like, and when I got that, when I was in uni and I got the ADHD report, I remember my mum reading it and saying, "Oh, this explains a lot." I mean, ADHD wasn't really a thing then, and I was very, very offended. when the lecturer said to me, I think I was 35, I was quite a mature, I'm supposed to be a mature student. And he said, you need to go for a test. And I was like, and he said dyslexia test. That's what he said. And I went, I have not got dyslexia. I said, I came out of the womb reading. My mum used to crack me on the head at 4 a.m. Get to sleep, you know. I said, I'm a reader. I barely watch TV unless, and if I do, I'm watching the light. I'm like, oh, look at the light there. Oh, look at, So I have to watch a film 3 times. One for the light, one for the story, because I've done a script writing course, and now I know how scripts work. I definitely don't watch films in a normal way. But where was I going then? Oh, so when this report came back, 3-hour test, I was there adamant. I remember my arms being crossed, going, and you know, she went, the way you've trained your mind is phenomenal. I went, what? And now when I think it, and she was telling me all these things, and I was like, is that not normal? She's like, no. She said, we don't like to, we don't really like to use that word, but the normal left brain, like, or however she explained it, wouldn't do it like that. Basically she was saying, I go from C to Z to P to A to I go all over. She said, but you'll always get there. She said, I'm better than anyone. It's crazy.
You think I love it, because I just think you enjoy the journey so much more on the way, instead of being tunnel visioned and focused on getting to A to B. Do you know what I mean? It's like, or A to Z. It's like going on the scenic route, if you like. You so much more, and you're more aware of things, and I just think with creativity as well, I think that just it goes hand in hand, doesn't it? I just think it's such a beautiful way of, you know, flitting from one thing to another, and not being, I mean, I'm the same. I'm kind of, you know, I can be organized, but at the same time, I love to have like a pencil drawing on the go, a painting on the go, a watercolor on the go, my art journaling on the go, so I can dip in and out of things, because I think you go with where your passion takes you on that day. And I think we all, at certain times, you know, different days, I'll be drawn to do different things. I don't want to think I'd have to do this because that's what I'm doing. If I'm not feeling into it, it's never going to be my best work. So if there's a day where I think I should be doing that, but I'm really not feeling it, I'll leave it alone, because I've learned if you try and force things, it doesn't work, and the flow
does not work. Have you ever read the book? Before I say this, though, before I forget, what you were saying before about going in flow, and like when you're recording and stuff, I have noticed, which I thought was very clever, in like a few artist videos that who teach. They must have the same problem, because there was this one lady called Jackie Bernardi. I think she's just brilliant. She records everything she's doing, so she'll be creating, but then she'll do voiceovers afterwards. So she's there's no and I thought, oh, I wonder if she's doing that because there's no, there's no flow. So, but she can say what she's doing with the voiceover afterwards, because she'll remember it. Maybe try that way.
I mean, when I'm, because my head goes when I'm sort of like recording, I'm in teaching mode, back in my because I used to be a teacher. I was a primary school teacher.
I remember you saying.
I remember many years. So I go back into teaching mode. So as I'm working, I'm sort of like talking logically through it, and my reasoning and everything as I'm going. So it kind of comes out. So I think even if I wasn't recording my voice, I would still be talking it through. So,
right. Okay.
You know,
okay. Yeah.
But it does. It is still that restriction, isn't it? Of like, you know.
Yeah, because there is a fact where if your left brain is engaged, you're not being fully creative.
No.
Yeah. So
So would you say then that, you know, finding your creative side and suddenly exploring all this creativity in the paints and all the different medias and everything, how has that helped your ADHD? How is it?
I feel like I'm going to try and explain this in the best way I can. I just I just feel at home. I just
That
feel
sums
at
it
home
up.
because I
Yeah,
can be all over the show because I
yeah,
am, because all my life I've tried to fit in,
yeah,
and that's made me very depressed at some stage. You know, it's like trying to fit in, and I am quite out there, but I'm also very chilled as well at the same time. It's bizarre. I am a bizarre being. But you know, it took a while for me to love me for who I am, you know. But as I said before, my mum and my sister, um, very organized, very neat, very kind of regimental when it comes to like organization and cleaning. So me growing up, unbeknownst to them, they didn't know they was doing this to me. I have until I've gone for like not therapy, like belief coding and stuff. Um, in a way, oh, you're a scruffy get, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. So I've had the deep rooted inside me, oh,
yeah,
you're a scruffy
yeah,
cow and this and that, without without me knowing until I've done the work, you
yeah,
know. So
yeah,
now I'm like, I'm not scruffy, I'm just creative
yeah,
because I'm clean, you
yeah.
know. But my daughter is very, very, very neat and tidy. So now I've got another clash going on. It's crazy.
We were talking earlier as well because we were talking about obviously the studios, and I was showing you my studio in the
Yes.
garden,
Yeah.
and we, you know, you said you want more space to be able to create, and I said the more space you've got, the
More
more
mess.
mess that happens, because it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, and I remember from a very early age, I had the most amazing art teacher called Mr. Greenwood, and I was only about 7 or 8 years old, but he used to let us go in the hall if we'd finished our work. There was me and another,
Go in the where?
like in the main hall,
Okay, yeah.
trusted us in there.
Mm.
So he'd put these massive sheets of paper down, huge,
Wow.
and he'd just say to us, paint these murals, paint these, I want some big paintings for the walls. So I remember doing like these seals on rocks with all, and he said, just play with the colours.
I
And I
love
remember
that.
vividly like the purples, the greens, and all these colours.
Yeah.
And we, you know, we'd got paint all over on the palettes and whatever,
Mm.
but we explored it, and it was freeing, and it was so lovely. And that's
Yeah.
one of my earliest memories of being creative. And
Mm.
then you go through school where it's like, no, you
But isn't it funny how much you remember that feeling?
yeah,
You remember
absolutely.
the feeling. You don't remember doing it. You remember
It's the
the
feeling.
feeling.
Yeah. And actually saying that, before that, my granddad, I spent a lot of time when I was tiny in his workshop. So
Mm.
we made like gnomes and painted them. We made bird boxes. We got the paints out and painted them. And I was allowed to make a mess, and I was allowed to, you know, and that was just, and that's one of my most precious memories, because it was
Mm.
like, let's create this together. Oh yeah, let's create it. What can we make it out of? You know, and it was just
Yeah.
brilliant. And
Yeah.
I think so those two people were very instrumental in my life, sort of like very early on.
Yeah.
But then you get into that, no, it has to be done a certain way, and you have to do it this, like you go through school and it's like you put
Yeah.
boxes. And
Yeah.
I'm the same. I've always felt like I don't, boxes are overrated. I hate boxes, you know.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just feel like
The school system does program you to get things right and not explore.
yeah.
That's what I find the school system now does. Like it has to be done this way.
And it's very interesting going back to your story of your certificates. You know,
Mm.
you have to, we're taught you have to do things a certain way to tick this box to get this certificate,
It's ridiculous.
so
Yeah.
that later on you can go and get a job. So like you've gone full
Mm.
circle with this going back to the certificate for those things at school that you
Mm.
were told you had
It's
to
like,
do in a certain way.
yeah.
Yeah, all of those beautiful creative things like your photography and all the other things you've done on the way,
Yeah.
and your life
Because
experience.
so can you imagine how young people are in school?
Yeah, yeah,
Because and in Finland, they zone in on a child's genius very early.
yeah,
And then they say, that's your thing. They
yeah.
don't mither him with maths or science or like they don't, that's not your thing. This is your thing.
Yeah,
And
and I
no,
think that's the
no, that
it,
school system should be that's how a school system should be. Like,
yeah,
yeah. Mm-mm.
it is, and I think there's,
Mm.
like you say, I think you spend so much of your life being put into a box, and then you spend so much of your life trying to get out of that box and understand why you're in that box. And
Yeah.
this stage in life, and you
Yeah.
free from the box, and do you know what? I can be me, and
Exactly.
that's, but it takes so long, and some people never get there. And that's why I feel very fortunate, because I was 46, 47 when I sort of like started going, hang on a minute, there's life outside this box.
I do remember the epiphany you had.
Yeah,
I remember, because we was doing it was like that business course, and I remember I think I should be doing at first I think you started a group with just arty stuff, and it wasn't, you was just opening a group for that. And I do remember your epiphany, like I remember it very well. I'm going to open an art group just to see how and I've seen your progression, and it's like, I just love it. It is beautiful. So really, we have been on each other's journey, and we've been for quite some time when I think about it.
And I was going to say, we've got so many things in common, like with the spiritual side, and like with the, just that discovering ourselves and the freedom, and and I love, what you do is your art is very different to my art, and I love that, because I love seeing your journey, and you inspire me, because I'm thinking, I could be more free with mine. I could do, and then what I do in the art journaling, it's like, that's been brilliant, because it's like, it's very free, and it's collage, it's just exploring things. But then
I do want to do that. I even started gessoing a big flower book that I found the other day, but I've not done anything with that. But I do kind of do a lot of collage stuff for the abstracts to put in.
So is that on fabric? Is that
No, this is, you need to get this. It's great. It's medical exam paper. They put on the beds in there.
I rolled of that in my studio from when I did the Reiki.
If it's the crinkle one, right? If you're using this for collage, so what I usually do is I've got a gel plate now, a jelly plate. I've got my children got it me for Mother's Day.
That's on my
even before I had the gel plate. I used to just do like random marks on tissue, tracing paper, but this one, if you use a gloss before, even I like matte mediums, but if you use gloss medium on the abstract, so let me just show you, for instance, see this here, I would never have been able to get that. That is this paper from this.
Right.
And I put a gloss medium down.
Yeah.
And then you soak the paper, this tissue.
Yeah.
And then it goes completely see-through.
Okay.
And then unless the other bits, and then gloss it back up, and then put gloss over it.
Right.
I would never be able to get that. They're just so sexy, them textures.
It is. It's so effective. Do you know what?
I just get so, like, when I see a texture, I'll go, oh, I like that. Honestly, one day I'm going to record myself.
I loved your Instagram where you were bent down next to, was it a drain cover in Spain, and you'd had to nip into a shop to get a sketchbook to do a rubbing of it. And I was like, I told my husband, he was like, oh my God, that's another you.
I kept walking around, and I've seen have you ever been to Barcelona?
No.
Right. And all the grids and the tiles on the floor, and I'm walking around. Obviously Barcelona you need to go to Barcelona. It's absolutely beautiful. And which is funny, because I was supposed to be in Madrid. But that's another story in itself. That is definitely another story in itself. So I'm walking around Barcelona, and I'm looking at the floor, and I'm like, oh my God, look at the textures. I even bent down, and I was like, no, I need to find a shop. I ran to the shop, got like paper and crayons. I thought, how am I going to get these textures? So I've got I used white crayon, blue crayon. I've just plonked myself on the floor, getting these textures to somehow incorporate them into some paintings when I got home. I don't know how, but just. And I've just looked up. I've got a bunch of Chinese tourists taking pictures of me. And then going on?
Signed them, and then you could have sold them on the spot.
I was in the distance, crying, laughing. I was like,
But you know what? I love that, and I love that. I love that you notice things like that, because I notice things that I never used to. When I was
yes.
in, it would be like we'd walk past things and I would be blinkered because I had so much time to get from A to B. I didn't notice what was going on.
Too much going on in here
Yeah.
rather than seeing what's going on out there.
Yeah. But then I became a nightmare to go for a walk with, because people would be talking to me, they'd turn around and I'd be miles behind because I'd seen something. I'd be taking a photo or just like.
Are you a magpie like me?
Yeah.
Are you a bin dipper as well? Because I.
Oh my gosh! And honestly, we're a whole different breed. I remember actually going back to the gel place as well. But there's not far from where I live, there's a place called Collingham, and they have like open studios a couple of times a year. So all these artists open at their studios. You can go and talk, see their work and everything, which is great. And we were driving home, and there was one in the next village. And I went in, I said, just need to call it this one. And this lady was there, she had a lovely studio. And her art was very similar to yours. So lots of textural things and more abstract and everything. And I said, how do you get this effect? And she said, this gel plate. And she was showing me. And then she got this box out with all these little bits, patterns that she'd got. And we were like rummaging through. And I was so excited. And my husband stood in the corner rolling his eyes. And I looked at him and said, I found another one of me. And he was like, oh my.
You still get it,
It's so lovely seeing that excitement.
I think you should give the abstract a go.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're like that over textures and like magpie kind of things. I mean, the other day, look at this. This is like from the bottom of a pizza box.
Wow.
And I get so excited.
We've recently done our dining room, and my husband was ripping up the underlay from under the carpet, and like the crinkled underlay.
Yeah.
So as he was taking it out to go and get rid of, I was like, no, that's not all going. So
give me some of that,
so I could print with it. So
yeah,
because I've got in my head, I've got a huge canvas.
Yeah.
That needs to be painted, and now it's nice enough to get back out in my summer studio. That's what's going to happen this year. It's going to be a big painting.
You're going to do some abstract?
There's going to be abstract on there. There's going to be collage abstract on there.
Oh, I love that.
But
excuse me. It is very freeing. I mean, you do your realism portraits, which I love, because I do but I have noticed, even when I'm doing, like, I don't know, say like I've got a stick of charcoal and then I'm doing that, I've noticed even then I'm kind of like pushing the realism away.
Yeah.
And just giving it like subliminal, like, and I was like, because I've always thought it had to be real, like, it's got to be this, and so trying to get all the proportions right, because I've done a course on getting all the proportions right, and someone said to me, why don't you trace, use the projector? I'm like, no, that's cheating. But now, because that's just the way my mind works, I think maybe the programming, like, from school, but now I know how to do it. Now I know, like, I can just pick a charcoal up and create a portrait, because I do kind of, I don't know where it is, but I have got a sketchbook where I do like portraits daily or something. Well, when I ever get a chance. But now, because I know how to do it, if I'm creating like 3 big canvases, I will not feel like I am cheating if I do a quick outline from projector, because it's all the shading. Now I know my mind's different now. It's like, oh no, I'm not cheating. I actually know how to make the form and
I mean, I always say in my workshops, because I sort of use strategies for everybody. So I always say it's like having your stabilizers on, and you can take them off at any time, but you've got to learn somewhere. And it's like, yesterday I did the hedgehog class, and for somebody to be sat there and say, right, draw a hedgehog, it's like, oh my God, where do I start? And that people don't paint because they think they can't draw. So if you take that drawing barrier away, then you
Yes.
paint.
Yeah.
So what I'd done, I'd sort of sketched one out, and we used a technique to transfer that onto the canvas, and it was just a very simple outline. So it was there, and then we could
Mm.
go in with it, and they were both.
Yeah.
They were like, "That's taken the pressure away." I was really worried about
Yeah.
the drawing side. Well,
Yeah.
now you don't need to.
Yeah.
Now we can just enjoy the painting.
Yeah, it is the drawing side for most people. I think maybe that's why I haven't fit in the past. I don't know. But excuse me.
But I really love, and I was going to say, because it's interesting how you said about, you were thinking like everything had to be realistic, but now you're moving outside of that, and it's very interesting how that's got a parallel to how with your life, you had to think you had to be a certain way, but now you're moving outside of that and enjoying your freedom as well. And there's kind
Oh,
of like a paradox there, isn't there, with the
yeah,
two
yeah.
alongside each other.
Yeah, I've never thought of it like that. I do, because I did think the other day, but I do love the elements of maybe not even so much a face, but I thought that I needed a person in there to have some kind of I don't know, essence in there of whatnot. But you don't, when you actually, now I understand abstract. I mean, obviously it's early days, because I'll be honest. I used to be one of them that looked at an abstract, like, I don't know, 15 years and go, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? Now I know. Now I get it, because there is some abstract that I've done. I don't know what's his name. Nicholas Wilson. He does the art to life.
Yeah.
He's
I've
big.
seen,
He's big. I mean, I really, really did want to go into his.
There's a program.
He opened his program.
He did
last month, but he done a 5-day free one first.
Yeah.
Which made me like, oh my god! And the abstract that I pulled just from that 3-day workshop was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like,
But
for me anyway.
So
it made me realize a lot.
Yeah.
And then but I thought, right, yeah, I really want to get in this program, but at the moment, because I'm, I've got like a little side job, and I might be getting another bar job just to buy paints. But the thing is, there is another thing with the universe, and then I started doing the portraits, and I said to the universe, please tell me I'm on the right path. And not that painting, my second full painting on canvas. I said, just tell me I'm on the right path. And that day, someone messaged me, I need that painting. And I said, my first painting. So that was my first one, what I've shown before. But that's on copy paper, and that was just with cheap paint. And then my second one, when I asked the universe, show me I'm on the right path. And that day, someone messaged me, I need to buy that painting. And it went to Dublin.
Fantastic.
That day. And I went, okay. And then I got commissioned to do the Nina Simone one. Did you see the Nina Simone one?
I think I did, yeah.
That was a commission job. And I was like, people are paying me to do what, love?
But that's what's really lovely, because people connect with different people
from
their art. And like I say, that when I first started seeing you post your paintings, it got me. It really did, because I could feel everything in the painting. You could feel it, and you could feel your story, and that was so lovely to see that coming through. And that's why but that's why I messaged you, and I know exactly where what you think, because when I first started, I was exactly the same. When somebody said to me, can I buy that painting, or can you do this for me? And I was that self-doubt that I had was like, well, I'm not good enough, and what if, and I do one, and then I think, what if I can't do it again? What if I can't do another one? What if it was a one-off? And that, we're so hard on ourselves. And I think
we are.
Sometimes when you just like, when what you're doing as well, you just let go and you create from the heart, and you create what you feel. And you will always find the right person that loves and connects with that piece. And that's the best feeling in the world, when somebody said, I mean, I had the same. I created, it's funny, because I created a piece, went on holiday, came back, looked at it, thought, I really don't like that piece, gessoed over it, And I spent like a few days just painting something that I really felt into, this lovely floral piece.
Mm.
And I put it on Facebook, and within half an hour, my lovely friend in Wales said, I need to have that because it's brought back so many memories for me and my husband. And it's now in a shepherd's hut um, in Wales. And
I just got
that
goosebumps.
meant everything to me, because when
Yeah,
someone has that connection with something you've created and it's
yeah,
from the heart,
yeah.
it,
And someone, oh God, I've got goosebumps.
it's the best feeling. So I
Yeah,
completely
yeah,
get.
yeah. But I mean, I have a dear friend, Sylvie, who I go hiking with and stuff. But she's Polish lady, very, very to the point, you know. And I know if I send her work, she'd say it, man, I don't like it.
Yeah, yeah,
And then the ones that I told you about the other day when I said turn the cameras off and I just created. So I sent them to her, and she's like, I cannot begin to tell you how much I resonate with these images. I was like, really? But I don't know when this is going to go live. But anyway, they're her birthday present now, because I know, because she did not stop going on about them.
yeah,
Honestly, I can't explain. And I was like, they're meant for her, and her birthday's coming up, so
yeah,
she's going to get the originals. I'm going to take pictures, and maybe once I start opening a Shopify,
yeah,
I don't really want to go down the digital print line. I want to stay originals, but obviously I'm not going to be able to live if I keep doing that.
yeah. But
So
but there's so many avenues you can go down, which is lovely.
yeah,
And what I really love is, you know, seeing your journey open up and develop. And it's just, you've got all these creative ideas, and you're in the flow, and it's like it's just opened up a whole new world for
yeah,
you. And it's just so lovely to feel that excitement and see that excitement.
yeah,
um, and you're embracing it, and you're embracing, that is part of you. It's part of, it's
mm,
part of, like,
yeah,
probably ADHD does have a big part in it. And I think that,
yes,
we've all
yeah.
got a little bit of that somewhere in us. And I
I
think
think
more
creatives
than
have. I think,
more than anybody.
yeah, no, I genuinely do believe that we've been labelled with this ADHD, and really, it's just creatives that want to be free.
Yeah. And
And
that's
I don't, and I do, and when I hear of people being seriously medicated, because I'm like, no, like,
get some pain.
no, there's something trying to get out, and you're putting a block on it. Don't,
Yeah,
like, let it out. Like that. That's in my opinion. You might get a lot
yeah,
of people going, no, because I need. But in my opinion, I just
yeah.
feel like it's putting a concrete wall on your creativity. I
Yeah.
really do. That's
And it can be creativity in any form. It doesn't necessarily need to be art. It could be ceramics. It could be sewing,
writing.
writing.
Writing. I have found that I'm doing a lot of writing,
Yeah.
and I never used to think that I could. But
And that's just flowing too.
that's just flowing too. Yeah, especially
But
when
that,
it comes to me doing a lot of my script writing. I mean, because the thing I have trouble with is consistency. Because I'll make a plan, I'm like, right, I'm doing this on Monday, do this on Monday, and then I start berating myself because I've not stuck to it. So a lot of my scripts and a lot of, because I was putting a blog out every Friday, and then I thought, no, I need to put the blog out on a Monday, and then I'm trying to make sense of it all. So if you go on my Instagram page now, because I was working with a film, this lady, Sarah Snow, she was teaching me how to get my scripts into a shorter thing. So at the same time, I'm learning how to paint. I'm, I'm learning how to form these scripts with all these stories that I've got in my head, film them, and then learn how to. So I did get a bit burnt out like last week. And that's what I think that was the day I was like, I'm not filming today.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not filming, I am painting. And I think we've got to give ourselves some grace, because I'm so hard on myself.
yeah. And
So,
it's about
so
balance.
hard.
It's
Yeah.
all about balance. I mean, I came to the art because I'd got to that point of burnout, and like,
Exactly. Yeah, your story. Yeah.
and the art sort of like, it brought me back. It gave me that sense of like you say, you could be anywhere. You're not you're not, you know, you don't know where it takes you. It just takes you to this beautiful place where actually nothing else matters. And you can switch off and you can reset, just recalibrate everything, and then you're ready to go again. And that's so important. And I think that's something to be very mindful of, which you clearly are. You know, when you're starting to create a business, use it, you know, with your art and everything. It's like, yes, it's great, it's a business, but also coming back to the roots of why you did it in the first place and what it is about it that makes you tick. And like you said, you know, when you're sort of thinking like you have to do this on a Thursday, this on a Friday, whatever, you know, my values now, from being the teacher and being timetable to within an inch of my life, my values now, which I really stick to, are freedom and flexibility. So if I've got things in my diary and I look at the end of the day and I haven't done those things, I'll just carry them over. And as long as I don't keep constantly carrying them over, and they do get done at some point in that week, I'm quite flexible about when they get done, but I don't put pressure on myself, because I think, no, freedom and flexibility. So if
that's where we get
up,
like, that's like, where we do get, Have you ever read the book, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield?
No, I have heard about it, but I've not.
It's actually changed my life, that book.
Really?
I cannot begin to tell you how much. But also, it's also made me realize, or made me think, have I been letting resilience win me all my life? To the point of, oh, right, no, I don't want to do that no more. And that, like, I can't. You have to read it to understand what I'm saying. But my journey started when that group that we met in.
Yeah.
My journey started in my creative, like, I was so upset on a daily basis, like crying in bed under the quilt, because of procrastination.
Yeah.
And I needed to get to the bottom of it, because I knew I was able to do it, whatever it was, whether it be a Photoshop composite. I've used Photoshop since the day it was created. So I know how to create in Photoshop, but I never used to. So if, say, like, I've had this image in my mind, I'd be like, I do it, and it'd be months. So to the point where I'd be crying in bed, like, why can't I do it when I know I can do it? So it'd be that, it's like this force, this invisible force field of you, like, and I was like, and I wanted to get to the bottom of it. That was crazy. And everyone could say, oh, it's just procrastination. Well, what is it? Like, what? So that's where I went down the path of looking into neuroplasticity and why do we do the things we do? And it's like the nervous system. I mean, this is obviously another topic altogether.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where my first journey started on it. So most recently, especially with the book of The War of Art, even though you understand procrastination and why you're doing it and why you've got this battle going on, it's a resistance, your body resisting. It's like, so now I have 3 people in the room with me at most times. It's a Nora, Dora, and Flora. Like, negative Nora, doubtful Dora, and fearful Flora. Oh no, honestly, sometimes I think, oh my God, I bet people think I'm crazy. My daughter does. Like, right, you can shut up. I'm fine. We're fine. I'm safe. We're safe. You just go back to sleep. So it's like constant, like, mind thing about getting stuff done. And it nearly happened the other day. Oh no, you don't be doing this art now. You're too old now. Like, why are you even trying, like, to do? And I was like, oh, I am, yeah. I'm not going to be able to make a business out of it. I'm like, oh, not that that's my main, like, outcome. But so I was having this battle, and then I went, whoa, sit down. Sit down.
Hey. And we all have that, and I love that. I love the names you've given them and everything, because we all have that self-doubt. You all have that, you know, maybe I should go and get a proper job. And
if you listen to it though, they're lethal.
Yeah.
You really, really listen to what they say,
Yeah.
they're evil.
And it is it, but then that really comes back to sort of like from early childhood, how you're brought up to think, and you're programmed to sort of think you have to do things a certain way, you have to have a proper job, you have to do this, you have to do that.
This is where it comes from.
Yeah. And it takes
We've still got the prehistoric brain. We
yeah.
wouldn't be thinking like that.
No.
I mean, we've still got the prehistoric brain, but we've like evolution. What's the word? I can't think of the word. But we still have the brain, the prehistoric brain.
Yeah.
So that's keeping us safe from, I don't know, saber-toothed tigers but with all the programming that we've had done, which wouldn't be done if we were still, I don't know, picking berries.
Yeah.
Surviving. We wouldn't have these like in a dialogue.
But that's the other thing with the art. I mean, that's one thing that I certainly found which really helped with my recovery. And it's one thing that one of my passions for teaching the workshop, so I can sort of get other people into this space, that it was very much about, like you said, about it's that fight or flight, isn't it? We're in that all the time, you know, we're in adrenal overload all the time, because the constant stress of everyday life. It's not like it used to be, some, you know, being chased by a tiger, the danger's over, it ends, and everything goes back to normal. We never get down to that calm state. We're permanently in a state of like perpetual fight or flight, and
it's dangerous. This is why your body shut down.
And that is why my body shut down, and it's why
absolutely
so much I see so many people heading on the same trajectory. And I just think, rather than medication and everything being on prescription, it should be paintbrushes and paints. They should be on prescription, you know, because
absolutely,
it's such a great way of just calming the mental chatter, calming the nervous system, calming the adrenals, and just really bringing yourself back to center and just moving out of that stress.
I mean, the thing is, with fight and flight, you don't even know that you're in it until you're out of it.
Normal. It becomes normal.
Yeah, it becomes normal, and it's you get into this. And when I was going through, when I left that past life with my ex, I didn't know, but even it was years after that, even though I'd escaped all the mind, it was the years after that were unraveling, that were the hardest. I was like, you know, like it was that. I've actually just done a part 3 script on that, trying to help other women to see that they are, hopefully, well, not hopefully, I am going to do them scripts on my Instagram feed. They're all going to start next week. I'm going to start filming next week. But yeah, fight and flight, you don't know you're in it.
No.
So there could be someone watching this now, not even knowing that they're in it. You might have leg joint, like pains in the legs or pains in the back, or it's trapped. It's trapped energy.
It is. And it
really is. Dr. Joe Dispenza, have you heard of it?
Honestly, I'm almost to the end of reading Becoming Supernatural. I
love that.
Honestly, I listen to his podcast all the time. I do his meditations every day. That's a whole discussion we can have.
Definitely without this. I'm Peter Crow. I've came across him. Is it Peter? Yeah, is it Peter? Terrible names, but his work as well. He's very good. A bit different than Joe Dispenza, because he's more like, you know. But it's the mind. It's the mind, and it's a shame because, like you just said, then you see people that are in it,
but you don't see it yourself.
No, and you can't sit there and say you are in fight and flight. You can't do it, because they'd be like, what?
I'm not.
and even then, that'll make me more fight and flight. You've got to do it in a different manner, but obviously you've got to train.
But I think this is why art is so powerful. I think this is why creativity is so powerful, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast. Because I just think there's so many women out there, particularly women, because I think, as I was saying to my husband the other day, because we were having this conversation, and I sort of said, do you know what? I said, when you look at it, I said, you know, most women, they've got, you know, it's the childcare, trying to work full time, looking after parents, relatives, whatever, you know, running a house. I said, they have like 4 full-time jobs.
Not normal.
It's not normal, but we're
Mm.
it's becoming increasingly, people think that's what we should do. You know, I did. It was like I had 4 part-time jobs. I was doing a degree, single mum, and then I was like,
that was me. That's what I have to do.
hours.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why your body gives out on you, and it's like, hang on a minute. So we need, you know, to actually get these women's stories out there.
Definitely.
I think it's so important, because you can feel very isolated, and sometimes as an artist as well, you can feel quite isolated. Because like you do when you look at other artists, and you sort of this comparison, and you sort of think, oh, who am I to do this? I'm not as good as them, and you know, and all of these mind monkeys and all these things that go on in our heads and everything. And I think this is why it's so important to get the voices of as many women as possible who have discovered their creative journey, you know, exploring these creative journeys and thriving and just feeling the passion of it. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing all of these stories. So
I love it. I love
I'm
that.
just blown away that you agreed to come on. You know, it was just synchronicity, because I sent you a message and your messages weren't working, so you didn't get it, and it was
on the messenger.
Yeah. And then you'd literally been thinking, I'd really love to do a podcast, and then like, hey, do you know what? Do you want to do a podcast with me?
No, I was like, what? I actually, you know, like and I know you do it as well. I just even though I know you've not told me you do it, but I know you do it. Like every year so we've both written a 5-year where I want to be, or where I actually am in 5 years' time, and what's happened in between then. And I actually someone's going to ask me to be on a podcast, which is
oh, I love it.
They'd written that was it last year? Yeah, it might have been last year or the year before, actually. It might have even been this year's manifesto. Yeah, I think it might have been this year's. I'm gonna look at it, and then I'll send you a screenshot. But the thing that you were saying there about women, remember the business thing that I told you, and there was a piece of paper?
Yeah.
It was for women. And we joined up with there's a lady called Bev in the community centre. She went over to Africa, and she's seen that the women there was doing an art thing to express themselves. So she's brought it here. So then we joined up with the Nigerian ladies with our art, and that's where my art was put in a gallery in Salford.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I was, but that's it, because there was a lovely lady on who came to the course. I can't draw, don't know why I'm here. And I think she thought I was fantastic because I'd just done one of the abstract faces. I find them very easy.
Yeah.
You know? So she's like, I can't do that. I said, that doesn't matter. That's not what you're here for. You're not here to do what I'm doing. You're here to do what you want to do. This is the whole point. And she started. I said, you paint what you're feeling. You paint what you're feeling. Oh, and what? And she was finding it so therapeutic. She wasn't doing the business side of it. It was like a therapeutic, you know. And she, to this day, she's always says, you know, it really, really helped me a lot. And that was the art. You could see what she was going through on this paper.
Yeah.
And it made her feel better. I mean, obviously, because she was with women who had stories and whatnot, but
it goes back to, like we briefly mentioned, like Joe Dispenza and everything, and like you go back to this and actually immersing yourself in a piece of art, it raises your vibration.
Absolutely.
You know, you can go in feeling really fed up, really down if things aren't going right or whatever. By the time you've finished, you come out feeling on a completely different level. And it's all quantum physics, isn't it? Which absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But it's got, you know, there's science behind it.
Now there's science behind it. I'm like,
yeah, and it's
great.
But you get the feeling, the creativity. It's a whole package. It's a whole I really want to write a book on this.
No, honestly, I mean, why don't we?
Absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that for ages, because I thought the blogs I've been writing there are booking themselves, you know.
Yeah.
But
we definitely need to have another conversation.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think it'd be great. I think because we've got so much life to talk about, you know. I mean, I could ramble for ages, and I'm pretty sure you can too.
I just want to say a massive thank you to you for coming on today, because it's just been so lovely to like reconnect as well.
Yes,
but also to hear your story and see your passion behind it. So if people want to sort of come and find out a bit more about your art and sort of find out, you know, see your beautiful artwork and sort of find out what you're doing and follow you, where can they find you?
It's a bit embarrassing because it's only just opened, that page, so there's only, I don't know, 90 followers, but I'm not really into all that. I want art_refocused, because it was refocused from the, I thought it was quite clever actually.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah,
from the camera, like photographer picking up a paintbrush kind of thing. Art_refocused.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that you're on Instagram, aren't you?
That is Instagram.
That's Instagram, yeah, lovely.
And I've just opened a Facebook page, which is just Art Refocus, but that's literally last week I opened that. So I'm going to start putting longer form, like, stories on there and stuff. So
but what I'll do, I'll get Jae to send me the links, and then I'll put them underneath, so you can click on them and come and find you and follow your journey.
Yeah, because on Instagram there's a link on my Instagram to the blog.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you ever so much, and it's
thank you
to see you, and we will definitely
let's do it again. Let's do it again. Definitely, let's do it again. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and bye for now.
Bye. Bye.